Hi, 7th grade. Today we're going to be working on lesson 1-4, which is properties of real numbers. Your gotta check is going to be page 24, numbers 1A and B. They're pretty fast, so we'll do them both today. And your homework is page 26, numbers 7 through 12. Your bell ringer is page 738, number 12. All right, let's get started. Today is all about being able to recognize certain properties of real numbers. So these are properties that you know and that you've used before, but we're putting names to them, and you need to make sure you understand how they work and also that they work in the context of variables. So let's take a look at our different properties. First of all, we have the commutative property. The root word of commutative is commute, and we know that a commute is travel back and forth from a location. So for example, you would commute from home to school, and then in the afternoon you would commute from school to home. So it's going back and forth. Commutative property is switching that order. So for example, a commutative property of addition would be something like A plus B equals B plus A. So you can see all I'm doing is I'm switching the order. It doesn't matter which order we do the addition in. It also doesn't matter which order we do the multiplication in. So if I had something like A times B, that would be the same as taking B times A. So the order doesn't matter for multiplication. All right, next up is the associative property, and the associative property has to do with the placement of parentheses. So remember, the root word of associative is associate. So think about associate and what that means. It means who are you friends with? Who are you hanging out with? Who's in a group together? And math, when we talk about groups, we're talking about parentheses. So the associative property of addition would look something like this. If we had A plus B plus C, and I put the parentheses around B and C, that would be the same as A plus B plus C, where this time the parentheses is around the A plus B, okay? When the operation is all addition, the order, okay, or the grouping doesn't matter, okay? The same is true for multiplication. So if I had A times B times C in parentheses, that would be the same as A times B in parentheses times C. So again, the grouping for addition and multiplication doesn't matter. Next up, we have the identity property. So identity means yourself, right? It's who you are as yourself. And identity in math means what a number is as itself. So any number stays the same if we add 0 to it. So the identity of property of addition is any number A plus 0 will still equal A. So we can add 0 to a number and it retains its identity. For multiplication, that magic number is 1. So any number times 1 will equal itself. So again, okay, the identity property is adding or multiplying a number, but still that number stays itself. Last two properties are kind of special. The first is the 0 property of multiplication, and that says that any number times 0 equals 0. So if I was going to take any number A and I was going to multiply it by 0, that would equal 0. So it doesn't matter what you multiply any number by. If you multiply it by 0, it's going to equal 0. And then the multiplication property of -1 says that any number you multiply by -1 will be the negative version of that number. So if I was going to take A times -1, that would equal negative A. Okay, it's changing the sign of that number. All right, those are the properties, and that's it. So let's try your gotta check. So your gotta check is on page 24, and we're going to look at 1A and 1B. So 1A shows 4x times 1 equals 4x, and 1B shows x plus the square root of y plus z. That's kind of crazy. And they say that equals x plus, in parentheses, z plus the square root of y. In each case, they ask you, what property does this illustrate? You tell me, pause the video, come back when you're ready. All right, let's look at 1a. So we have 4x times 1 equals 4x. This is our identity property, and specifically, this is our identity of multiplication. So I'm just going to use the multiplication symbol there to abbreviate. Okay, let's look at 1b. This one is a little bit trickier because we have addition, we have an order change, and we also have parentheses. In this case, it is the order change that makes the difference. In this parentheses, we have square root of y plus z, and in this parentheses, we have z plus the square root of y. So we're flip-flopping the order of the square root of y and z. And when we switch the order, that is commutative. So this one would be commutative property of addition. All right, you should be ready to start homework. So remember, your homework is page 26, numbers 7 through 12, and your bell ringer, page 738, number 12. All right, see you tomorrow, 7th grade.